Welcome back to Sunday Night in America. President Zelenskyy delivered a powerful message to Congress this week and once again implored the U.S. to do more. He told American lawmakers he needs a no-fly zone and additional defense systems. Hours later, President Biden announced the U.S. would send an additional $800 million in defense aid, including Stinger missiles and drones and firearms. No doubt it will be helpful, but is it enough? And should the world's greatest superpower be doing even more? Joining us now is the House Republican leader from California, Congressman Kevin McCarthy. Congressman, thank you for joining us. You were in the room for that speech. Tell us your reaction and the reaction of the other members of Congress.
Well, thank you, Trey. Trey, if I can just first, I do want to take one moment to honor the memory and life of Don Young, the Dean of the House. I know you worked closely with him. He represented Alaska for about 3/4 of the time they've been a state. He was a giant of a man, but a heart bigger than the Capitol. So, yes, Zelenskyy spoke to us in the House. It was the House, the Senate, Republicans and Democrats alike. You know what he did say and what he did not say? What he did say was to help us, and he weaved in themes of America, from 9/11 to Pearl Harbor to Martin Luther King. It was a very moving talk, but he never asked to send American men and women into war. All he asked was, allow us to have the weapons to defend ourselves. And this is where President Biden has continued to make a mistake. It wasn't just how he pulled out of Afghanistan. It wasn't that he said in a press conference, President Biden, that if Putin took a little of Ukraine, it would be okay. He was too slow in providing the weapons so Ukraine can defend themselves. And what Biden also did was hold up the MiGs planes from Poland so Ukraine can create their own no-fly zone. Why deny them that? It's no different than sending them a Stinger or any other weaponry. Allow them to defend themselves and fight for freedom. I would believe in the House and in the Senate there is bipartisan support to allow the Polish MiG airplanes to go to Ukraine so Ukraine can create a no-fly zone themselves.
You know, Kevin, we just saw the images, and they're powerful images. I mean, look, you're serving in a tough time where bipartisanship is hard to come by, but it certainly looked like that was a bipartisan reaction. So is there a desire on both sides of the aisle to do even more? And are the Democrats communicating that to President Biden?
I know some Democrats are. And inside that room, one place that was so powerful, Zelenskyy asked us all to watch a video. In this video, you could see it's almost started out like a chamber of commerce, the beautiful cities of Ukraine. Then they put modern day video of weaponry coming in from Russia, killing maternity wards, the children, the horrific signs of bombing a theater, as we watched afterwards, that was clearly marked this was for children. And there wasn't a dry eye in the room after that. But I think there's a bipartisan support to supply the weapons to Ukraine to defend themselves. The difficulty here is that Biden has waited so long. The supply chain is not just there yet. The routes to get it to the locations. And it's all throughout Ukraine. You've already had millions of people who had to leave Ukraine. You've had thousands of people who have been killed horrifically of what Putin is doing, and his plan is to even go further. If he had taken action sooner, maybe Putin would not have entered Ukraine, but we need to supply them the weapons to defend themselves.
Yeah, Kevin, you're there and I am not. It almost appears as if the Biden administration was a little, invested in diplomacy for a little bit too long. I mean, when you got troops massing at your border, I'm not sure diplomacy is what you need as much as military aid. We got about 30 seconds. You may be the Speaker of the House when this is still going on. What would you say to Biden? You're the Speaker of the House. What would you say to him in terms of helping Ukraine?
At this moment in time, it's really the actions you've taken before. I would continue to help Ukraine, but I would take a different action going forward. I would look to Taiwan. Don't make the same mistake twice. Do not let China become stronger in their ability to take Taiwan. Sell Taiwan the weapons to defend themselves so America is not getting asked the question to go into war. Peace through strength, we have seen time and again, works in this world. And when you have Ukraine who wants to defend themselves, don't have them fight with sticks. Give them the weapons and they could be able to win to deter Putin from ever moving forward and bring the rest of the world together against Putin for this horrific actions and the murders that he is taking place right now.
Kevin McCarthy, the minority leader for the Republicans in the House from the great state of California. Thank you for joining us on a Sunday night. My best to your family.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.